Welcome to this week's lesson on assembly. Now, up to this point, you're able to start drawing some parts, and you're drawing these parts in IPT, and that IPT stands for Inventor Parts. Now, after you save each one of those parts individually, you can bring them back together and assemble them. Okay? And I want to show you how to do this. Now, in Chapter 13, you had the shaft support assembly, and we're actually going to assemble that, and that was one of your assignments for this week. But I want to go in here and I want to show you how to put that together to help you with this. Now, first thing I want to do is come up here to New and start myself a new file inside of Inventor. And again, when you start looking at this, I want to be in English. Of course, this is metric and mold design, but let's stay in English for this one. This is what we draw each part in the IPTs. Now we're going to do an assembly, and assembly is an IAM. So use the standard IAM. And what that means is Inventor Assembly. Double click on it. Now we have got this launched, and you can see everything's a little different from the IPT file. It's just a different toolbar and ribbon. Now what you're going to do is you're going to bring in those individual parts that you've drawn as an IPT. To do that, you come over here and you see this place. There's different things that you can do here. If you hit place, you can pull it straight out of a file. You know how you saved your IPTs. That's how we're going to bring them in. We're just going to go locate them and bring them in. But you can also do from the Content Center. Now, Inventor is really nice. They have tons of stuff already loaded up, like standard things like screws, bolts. I mean, just tons of things like that. So if you wanted to bring something in that's a standard type of part like that, you can find it right there. But for our purpose, we're going to hit place. And all thing we have to do is come in here and find where I had those saved at. And right here they are. And when I open those, I just made myself a folder and I called it Week 11 Video. But first thing I want to do, and you don't have to do it like this, but I think it's easier, is to find the largest part, which is the base plate. And it'll show it when you click on it right here. And the reason I do that is because when I open that up, and you'll see it'll bring it in here. I'm going to take and rotate that just a little bit. It brings it in just like this, and all you have to do is just a regular left click on your mouse, and it puts it in as many times as you want. I can put another one in now. Back it up. I can put a bunch of them in if I wanted to. But I only need one of them. So what I want to do is I'll just delete the ones I don't want. All you have to do is click on them and delete, and they're gone. You can kind of see in your model history over here, and we've talked about that whenever you were drawing an IPT. You can go back and revise the part, which is awesome. Well, you can do the same thing here. This base plate, and when you bring it in, there's nothing here, but you've got your planes and your axes that you can turn on. And if you wanted to turn on a plane, you just, of course, just right-click and turn visibility on, and see you can see it now. Right-click again and turn the visibility off. So it just depends on what you're wanting to constrain to. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But anyways, it's sitting right there. But there is one thing that I want to do. You see right now, I can grab this and move it. I can move it anywhere. Well, this is my largest part. I want to make it stationary, so I want to right click right over here on top of that base plate. I want to slide down to what's called grounded. And you see it looks like a little thumb tack. So this thing's grounded. I cannot move it now. And you can see when I hover my cursor over it, you can see the thumbtack. I can't move this thing anywhere. So now what I want to do is I want to build the rest of the parts on this and just go back to place. And this next piece I'm going to put in is the collar. So come down here to collar, just hit open. Again, when you bring it in, click. You can keep on clicking as many times, but if one's all you need, just right click and then just hit OK. Or you could have entered it, either way you want to do it. So now we got this piece in, and let's go ahead and we've got to put some more parts in. So let's go back up to place, and this time I want to put in the bearing. So hit open on that, bring it in here, just left click. If you just want one of them, right click and hit OK. And then I want to hit place again. Come over here, and I need a screw. I need 2 screws. So there's 1, and there's 2. Right click, OK. And you can see the visibility is on that plane where we had to put that slot for the screwdriver. I used that work plane to build that on. So if you want to turn that off, again, all you have to do is come over here and find it. See, when I highlight over top of them, it'll find it. And come down here to work plane, right click, and just go to visibility and turn it off. One thing about a work plane, when you print, if you got a work plane turned on, it won't print. I turned the visibility off on the part. Let me go back and fix that. I had to open up the collapse side of it. So now we're ready to start assembling this thing. Now it's not difficult, so don't get tore up over this. All you have to do, this one's grounded now, and you can see that, and the rest of them are not. You can move them. That's a good thing. So what I want to do is I want to come here and hit constrain. And again, constraints in here, relationship, constrain. And what I want to do is I want to take and move around so I can get the bottom of this. And you're going to see inside of constrain, you've got 5 different options here. This one is the mate, and you're going to use that the most. You're mating the parts together. This one's angle. You're going to use that sum. Here's tangent. This is insert. Really, for this, for what we're doing, you're going to use mate, and we're going to use insert. And of course, here's symmetry. But these two, or even angle. We'll get into angle a little bit later too. But these two are the ones that you're going to use the most of right now. But I'm going to choose mate, and you've got under the mate category, you've got either the mate or you got flush, and that's pretty self-explanatory. So if I want to mate this to this, first I click on this one, and I want to make the bottom of this to the top of this. It makes a thump. You hear that? Hit apply. You make sure you hit apply. Now I want to show you something. I'm just going to cancel this out of the way. I can zoom in. Now watch this. I can't. I'm trying to move it off of it. It's got it made it to that where it'll slide side to side, but I can't move it anywhere because those two surfaces are made it together. It's pretty neat. And you can also do this. We got to find that bearing. Right there's that bearing. If you open it up, you see how it added that mate to it. And if you want to modify anything, just double click it and see I can actually offset this thing off of it a certain distance. You see how it come off of that surface 0.05, but I want it to be setting exactly right on it flat, so I want to go back to 0 on that. You see how it brought it back down. So you can edit inside of this, and it's really cool. Now what I want to do is since I got that thing, it don't look like right now. It looks like I'm just spinning that around, but it is, that bottom's made it to this. If I was looking at it at a different light. So what I want to do now is I want to align this right here. I want to align the center of this to the center of this. And to do so, hit constrain again. Use that mate again and mate. And what I want to do, turn it up just a little bit. I want to catch the cylinder here. You see the axis line that comes through it? That's what you want to see, and that's what you want to see on this one. And see how it puts it right on it? Apply. Now we're made it to the bottom of it, and you can see how it added another one. We are made it to the bottom of it, and I can't move it. It's just spinning around that axis. It's made it to the bottom of it, and it's centered up. Now the only thing I got to do is just center up. Move this out of the way just a little bit. I just got to center up one of these screw holes here. So you just grab this one, grab that one, it pulls it around, and now this thing is stuck. It's made it exactly where it should be, and I can take now and look and make sure that I can see daylight through those holes. I can. Y'all see that? Perfect. Alright, now I want to show you the next move that I want to do. I want to make this one on top of this. This bottom right here, this flat on this collar, it's going to go all the way down and touch this portion right here of this bearing assembly. Now, to do that, I'm just going to constrain again, use my mate, and first thing I'm going to click on this object first because it's stationary. Click on this. And then I'm going to come over here and click on this surface. Boom. Now, they're just, only thing they are, they're just made it together on that surface. It looks like I'm turning it and twisting it every which way until I turn it like this. And you can see I can't move it up and down. It's just side to side because it's made it on that plane. So now, all I have to do is take, and I need to check something out. I might have put the mate in the wrong spot. Well, actually, it is lining up. I was worried because I didn't know exactly how deep this was compared to the top of this. So let's say I goofed up, and I should have made it this bottom to the top here. So if I did goof up, all you have to do is come over here, find your part, right there's your collar, and open it up, and right there, you see, there's that mate. Double click it, or actually right click on it and do edit, and you can change one should be right there, and then 2 should be right there. It's as easy as that, and then you can offset it as well, as you've seen. And now if I turn it sideways, you can see I can't move it up and down. Now, as you can tell, an easy way to do this now is constrain, catch the center of this axis with the center of this axis, keep it symmetrical, or concentric, I mean. So now, there it is. And you can't really tell, but this thing's actually, I'm sitting here spinning it around. Alright, it's locked in. Alright, now, I want to show you something else. Let's put these screws in, and before we do that, let me do one more thing. I want to show you the flush command. I didn't get a chance to show you that. I want to pull another part in. We'll do another base plate. I'll bring it in, and we'll delete it off in just a minute. But if you wanted to constrain, let's say this, let me show you something. I'm going to turn around here. You see how this one's at a different level, and I want this and this to be flush, the top surfaces of this. All I would have to do is come here to constrain and hit flush, catch the top of it to the top of this. Y'all see that? That's the difference. That's flush. It's put them flush together. That was using that. You're using the mate category, but you're using the subcategory of flush. And you can also offset as well. So just make sure that you hit apply. Now if I can come in here and change it to mate, and you can see what happens to it. It's kind of hard to see it, but see, they're flush together, but mate, it turns this around and mates them together. So you can actually do this, and then sometimes you'll get the wrong one, select it, and you can just flip between them and hit apply whenever you're done. But I don't need that one, so I'm just going to delete it off. And the last part of this, I want to show you how to go in here and insert these screws. It's really easy. Hit constraint and come over here to insert. And again, you have two categories, subcategories within this. The easiest way to do this is come over here, and you want to pick a line. You can pick that one or this one, and make sure the center's on, and then come over here and just make sure this right here, that first little bit right there, is, remember where we clicked on right here, that edge, that right there is where that thing's going to be level with. And make sure that center axis is on. Click it, and there it is. Now you can also just click between these. It just flips them back and forth. That's actually right there. Hit apply, and then after you do that, this tool bar stays up. Come over here and do the same thing to this one. Make sure you come in there and click that where it's going to sit. Hit apply, and you've got it done. And that's your assembly, and it's not that bad. I want to show you one more feature on this, and you can see you're sitting there spinning those. It's really neat. Let's see. Let's check it out from the bottom side. See if those screws come all the way through. No, almost. But I want to show you a little something else that goes along with this. Let's say, for instance, something was goofed up with this part, and the assembly didn't work right. Let's say that my holes were off and the screws didn't line up to screw into this piece. Well, it makes it easy. This program is great. All you have to do would be double click this part, and it opens it up back in the IPT with inside of this IAM. So this is actually my IPT part, and I can go in here and I can work on it. I can go in here and slide down, and let's say these holes right here were off. I can go down there and click on this and double click my sketch, and I can actually change this dimension if I have to make sure it's right. And once you're finished, come up here and hit finish sketch, and then if you want to go back into your assembly, hit return. It takes you right back to your assembly, and it saves the IPT and it saves the IAM. So that's what they talk about with parametric modeling. Everything is saved together. It's really neat. But whenever you're working in assembly, make sure that you put all your parts in the same folder, and you put your assemblies in the same folder, and so on. Because if you don't, if you scatter them out, and let's say, for instance, you delete one of them off, well, when it comes back to the assembly, you're missing that one part and it can't find it. It links out, and it knows exactly where all the parts are whenever you're building it. And then if you move a part inside of your computer, say from desktop to maybe a flash drive, and you delete it off your desktop, it don't know that you put it on a flash drive or another part of the computer. It has no idea. So what it does is it'll tell you the part's not there, and it'll just be a blank spot. So make sure that you keep all of your stuff. I always make a folder for every part that I make, or every assembly that I'm working on. I make one folder and I keep them all together.